Hi, and welcome to this week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with...
Sean.
And Lee.
No Chris tonight. He is otherwise occupied. I think they're making him work.
Good lord.
Fuck, there was nearly no us then, was there?
Cables galore.
Yeah, 2 weeks away, and we've had God knows how many technical issues in the last half hour.
Crackers.
Well, we can all hear each other. Amsterdam was brilliant, by the way. If you haven't been, go. If you live there, I'm jealous.
I would not recommend coming back with the native throaty chesty infection. That was thoroughly unpleasant.
Ah, the one that's left you flat out for the last 2 weeks.
Yes, not recommended.
Nice.
Other than that, though, fantastic place.
Was it?
The scenery, the food, the drinks, the people,
cheese.
the cheese. Oh, the cheese. The cheese is to die for.
I heard a fucking hilarious thing the other day. I was speaking to my friend who lives in Tennessee, and he was talking about his state and how many people are in it and stuff. And he said, "Look, he said, you Europeans, said you don't fucking understand. He says you don't understand how big America is and how big the states are." He said, "Here you can drive for like 18 hours and you're basically in the same place. So you drive for 18 hours and everyone speaks funny and the cheese is different."
Well, we've now got a fridge full of Dutch cheese. Turns out it does survive a flight back. And of course, while we were away, within minutes of releasing the last podcast 2 weeks ago, Monday fucking news.
Oh, it's fucking typical. I genuinely don't think it's ever since we fucking broke protocol with Rosberg and we did the emergency podcast when he retired. Since then, the fucking universe has gone against us.
It's like we've set a precedent that we just can't keep up with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, before we had the late show, a couple of days late, and then Vettel goes and announces his retirement the day after that comes out.
Mm-hmm. Rude, inconsiderate. This
time, record the show on a Sunday. Monday morning, 9 o'clock, got an alert on my phone, looked at it, and I thought, well, that's any chance of relaxation this week gone for a Burton.
Well, do you know what the shit thing is about that? It's only because we forgot to do the silly season prediction. We'd have had it covered because I predicted Alonso was going to go to Aston Martin 2 days prior to that for the exact reasons he went, for stability of contract. And we were going to have a silly season talk, couldn't we? Weren't we? And then we just forgot or ran out of time or went on holiday. So the timeline goes like this. Monday morning, after the podcast comes out, 9 o'clock, Alonso is announced as joining Aston Martin next season. Mm-hmm. Now, we weren't the only people to find out at 9 o'clock on Monday morning that this was happening, because that was when Otmar Schaffnauer found out as well, apparently. Apparently so.
And he was only talking to Fernando Sunday night.
It's a bit embarrassing, isn't it?
I think it's more because I know Alpine are trying to play the sort of victim card here a little bit, aren't they? But you kind of got to blame a little bit on Alpine here when in the space of 48 hours they lose their star driver and their future star driver, or very near, or we think that's going to be all fucking cast iron for McLaren and done. I feel there's some negligence on the side of Alpine.
It raises questions about the culture, doesn't it? That Fernando Alonso didn't even feel obliged to say, look, this is the decision I've made. It's going to be public tomorrow, just so you know.
Yeah. Well, the rumour is that they offered Alonso a year contract with an option on their side for less money than Esteban Ocon is on a year.
Yeah, I can't see that he would have gone for that somehow.
No, it just seems... I think the biggest insult I think that comes from that would be, because I know what people are going to say, especially the ones that don't like Alonso, they're going, yeah, but he hasn't had the results. And you go, yeah, but the car keeps fucking blowing up and Schumacher drives into the side of him. So the thing is, if it would have been poor performances on his side, like Daniel Ricciardo, for instance, I could understand it. But when basically you've got less points, when we had the discussion, didn't we, of how probably about 40 to 50 points have gone begging for Alonso because of Aston Martin / Schumacher issues. I don't see their point of trying to knock his wages down.
But it did take half a dozen races for him to get more championship points than penalty points.
Well, this is true. I don't know. I think it's really weird because obviously I have a vested interest in Mr. Alonso's career. But when he came back to Alpine, everyone went, "It's fucking ridiculous. What's he come back to Alpine for?" And he himself said, "I've got more chance of winning if I'm on the grid than if I'm not on the grid." Was his sort of response to him joining Alpine. And now all of a sudden he's left Alpine and everyone's going, "I can't believe he's leaving Alpine." And you go, "I thought you thought it was fucking stupid him joining the team."
Yeah, but he's now got more chance of winning not being on the grid than he has in an Aston Martin at the minute.
I disagree. I think there is more chance of Aston Martin overtaking Alpine next year than there is of Alpine moving forward towards the front of the pack.
Yeah, but McLaren have helped him move forwards to the front of the pack.
What?
McLaren have helped Alpine move forwards to the front of the pack this year.
A little bit. But do you know what I mean? Like, Alpine feel like they're in the position they're always in, where they build a half-decent car that kind of works everywhere to a certain extent.
Well, I don't know. The Enstone team for the last 15 years, the position it's been in is either has Alonso or is waiting for Alonso to come back.
Pretty much, yeah. But when you look at the team that Aston Martin's put together, you know, when you look at the designers that have gone in, the engine people, the facilities that are going to come online next year, I feel it's a better gamble if you're going to gamble on a team, because that's essentially what Alonso's doing. He's gambling on a works team, but it will be an underfunded works team in Alpine. If he's going to gamble on them producing a car that can win races, I think the better gamble is to go with the team which has got the financial input.
Which is all fair enough, but it's already been discussed about the toxic atmosphere at Silverstone, and Otmar leaving because there can't be two popes.
Yep,
I think that was his quote, and struggling to understand a car that they've basically copied from other teams.
Not this year.
The Green Bull.
Yeah, but no, it's got sort of Red Bull inspired flex, but
yeah, I think they decided it sort of looks a bit like it, but actually in the way it functions, it's not that similar.
Yeah, one's fast and scores points, the other one is green.
But what have you got? I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, when you look at what that team has done over the years, it's
maybe because they've got too much money.
Could be. I genuinely think it's just restructuring. I think that's all it is, and I don't know if Alonso is going to be around long enough to reap the rewards of the restructure. But again, I just think it's a better opportunity. It's a better place for him to go, and that's the thing. If he goes there and it's another McLaren situation, he probably will leave Formula One, and that'll be the end of him leaving Formula One for good. But I don't see Alpine giving him what he wants. I think if Alpine were going to give him what he wanted, they'd have done it straight away this year with the new regs. All they've done is held their position in Formula One. They've held that Renault. Are they best of the rest, or are they slightly off best of the rest?
But the thing is, they're not the team weren't prepared to take a long punt on him. Which, I mean, at his age, you can understand. 40 is now old for an F1 driver. It didn't used to be.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's almost sort of come back into fashion, hasn't it? With Kimi and obviously now Alonso and Schumacher when he came back. It sort of it sort of is it's not quite gone away, the idea of the 40+ driver.
I think what we had was the Vettel effect. When Vettel came in and he was mega fast at Toro Rosso, mega young, very much like Max Verstappen. that paved the way for like the youth push into Formula One. I don't necessarily think that means that. I don't think that means that a driver's careers are over. We're seeing all across sport, and probably mostly to do with sports science than anything else, that it's less about the body giving up and more about the mind. So if you've still got an athlete which is driven for success, which wants to do it, I don't see Fernando being 40 and I don't know, Max Verstappen, is Max Verstappen 20, 21, something like that? I don't know how old Max is.
I think he's slightly older now. I think he'll be 25 this year, I think.
Yeah, I just don't see that gap in age being such an issue in Formula One now. But again, it's all about drive. It's if you look at Kimi Räikkönen, for instance, or Sebastian Vettel. Like Sebastian Vettel hasn't retired because he's too old to be in Formula One. He's retired, and he's not retired because he can't drive a car anymore. He's retired because his head's gone.
Mm-hmm. I think as well the other sort of difference between now and the peak of the Vettel era, that was a very driver weight dependent era. So like John-Eric Verne talked about the fact that because of his height, he was always struggling for weight. And had to be sort of, unhealthily skinny for his height. Whereas obviously as well for older drivers, that becomes an issue, maintaining the weight. But not so much now.
Yeah. So John Eric Verne's an odd one there, though. I mean, because whenever I hear that sort of thing, I always think, Jensen managed it. And
it depends on your
6'1".
sort of your biology, though, doesn't it? Some
I
people are
suppose
sort of
so,
will naturally build lean muscle, whereas some people need a bit more... bulk behind the muscle.
Like Montoya, for instance. Montoya would never have been a thin driver.
No.
He was just a stocky character. Yeah, no, that's fair. But no, I think it's interesting. I think it's Alonso proven that at a whim he can make the entire Formula One world talk about him regardless of where he is on the grid.
Well, yes, because the next thing that happened was Alpine go and announce Oscar Piastri will be joining them next year.
News to Oscar Piastri.
Well, I think the funny thing here is that I think there's been some. I think these two have worked this out together because you've got Fernando Alonso, which used to be managed by Flavio Briatore, Mark Webber, that used to be managed by Flavio Briatore. Both of them are good friends. I don't believe any of this is an accident. In fact, there's a little bit of me thinks because I personally think Flavio Briatore probably still has a hand managing drivers anyway. It's
I think he still has some involvement in Alonso, doesn't he? If personal, not necessarily drivery.
Yeah, I think he's got the negatives or something.
But it would make sense to me that if there was some sort of mutual management thing going on between Alonso, Webber, and Piastri.
Webber manages Piastri.
Yeah, I know Webber manages Piastri. That's for me, but it would make sense to me that given how Alonso left Alpine, he purposely dragged it out so Piastri would fall out of contract and go and do what he wanted to do.
Well, I mean, the rumours were that Piastri was going to be on loan to Williams for a season or two. And apparently Webber didn't want that because Williams at the minute.
And he's been there. He was there in a more competitive Williams, I might add.
Yeah. So that left Piastri saying, actually, no, I'm not going to Alpine. Alpine are now threatening all kinds of legal action. But the problem is, the Contract Recognition Board have said everything seems in order.
If he's out of contract, he's out of contract. That's kind of out of contract.
So one of the things that Autosport suggested that Alpine might do is actually sue him for all his development costs. Because part of his contract was to get a certain amount of testing mileage, which obviously the team had paid for. and now they find themselves out of pocket because it was training for his next job.
That feels it feels like unless there is something in your contract at the point of training that says this is an investment in your future within this company, then no, that's not how that works.
There was obviously some kind of option available, or golden handcuffs deal, which didn't come to fruition.
It's a bit gross, and this is one of the things I don't like about the driver academy stuff. We've seen it so often now where you'll get a young driver that is trapped in a team. Like when Jensen wanted to move back to Williams from Honda, that worked out best in the end, that he stayed where he was. But we've seen it with drivers just being stuck on the sidelines because if they don't get to drive a Ferrari, they're not allowed to drive a car, and it just seems silly. I think there should be more teams treat their young drivers like Mercedes did.
Well, it's not even the young drivers. I mean, how much was Kimi being paid not to drive for Ferrari for the years that he was out?
I don't think Kimi minded. I think that they were that desperate to get Alonso into that car. I feel if Kimi had wanted to drive, he could have negotiated his way out into another team as well. Mm-hmm. I think he was quite happy to sit back and rally for a year.
But yeah, I mean, with some of the young driver programs, it does get a bit restrictive, and then you get chucked out. I mean, Callum Ilott was meant to be, the next great Ferrari hope, and he's now in IndyCar, and Ferrari have cut all ties with him. Soon as they signed Carlos, he was gone.
Yeah, it's the nature of Formula One, isn't it? Where you've only got so many seats and you've got lots of drivers. But I think that's what makes it exceptionally
and a couple of Canadians.
And a couple of Canadians. But it's what makes it sort of exceptionally weird when you have people that should get a chance in Formula One, but don't get a chance in Formula One because of contract finagling, and it's the Nick De Vries, I think, is a good example of it. He's a guy that he still might find his way into Formula One yet. We don't know, but he should have been there by now.
He beat Latifi to the F2 title, and Latifi got a seat.
Yeah, I mean, he's the Williams test driver. Just won the Formula E championship. Won the Formula E championship last year. Sorry,
I was going to say Van Dorn has just won.
Stoffel's just won the Formula E championship.
Which shows just how fucking important the Formula E
what is it?
Something
like the third motorsports world champion to win a title after winning only one race in a season or something ridiculous like that.
Did he only win one race? Formula E is shit.
Well, that must say by the same metrics, Keke Rosberg was shit.
I was going to say it's him, Keke Rosberg, and someone else. I can't remember who the other one is. There's another.
But there was 5 Grand Prix back in Keke Rosberg's time, and 45 drivers.
That is true.
Yeah, but 23 of them had to get up at 5 o'clock on Friday morning to see who made it into qualifying.
I just don't understand. Anyone still watching Formula E? What are you fucking doing with your life, and how do you get so much time?
So both the Mercedes Formula E drivers are McLaren rejects. And are they going to be employable next season by McLaren, who are taking the team over? That's not
McLaren
are
buying all the Americans.
Yeah, I mean, we've got that situation as well, because McLaren keep buying drivers in America and haven't decided where they're going to put them at the moment. They've got a Rosenqvist going spare, who's going to be in some kind of car.
It does make you wonder who's going to move away, because I mean, you've got to think if McLaren tie Piastri in for a few years, and this is the crazy thing. We're talking about Piastri, or maybe not us talking about Piastri, but people and news outlets and F1 pundits are talking about Piastri like he's a 100% sure thing. This guy's going to come in and he's going to be fucking awesome. We've no fucking idea.
The thing is, that's what people said about Nick Heidfeld.
Exactly.
It might not be the comparison Mr. Piastri wants there.
I mean, the only thing I would say is that from Piastri's, because he would have come up through junior formulas with George Russell and Lando Norris, wouldn't he?
Yeah. I think he was a year or two behind them. Yeah, I think he came through British Formula 3 sort of at the same time as Logan Sargent, who's in F2. Christian Lundgaard, I think, might have been floating around the same time as well. Sort of that ilk. Yeah,
because there has been like a pretty strong crop of drivers, hasn't there, come from that sort of within like 4 years apart of each other that have had a pretty good hit rate as far as coming into Formula One doing well. So I suppose if you're going to put him up against that, maybe there's some optimism, but
I mean, I'm looking at the 2019 Formula Renault Euro Cup, which Piastri won, and to all intents and purposes, it looks like the F2 grid over the last couple of years.
Yeah,
Caio Collet, Gregoire Saucy, still one of the best names in lower formulas.
These two are both still in F3.
Yeah, Victor Martins, F3. Amaury Cordeel.
Not sure where he's floating around at the moment.
Leo Lorandi.
No idea who that is.
Keeps turning up in F2 and F3.
Okay.
Kush Maini.
F3.
Sembol Bassi. Back of the grid in F2.
Yes, F2. Back from a ban in F2.
Yeah. Franco Colapinto.
Yes.
All of these sound like football managers.
And, of course, the great Alessio De Leda.
Fucking hell.
He sounds like a footballer.
That's saying that Piastri won from that crowd is, I think, not the high praise it could be perceived to be. That's yes.
Yeah.
I'll be perfectly honest. I know none of those names.
No. Victor Martins is might do all right, but no, the rest of them less so.
Well, looks like we're going to see next year. I mean, he's done well. Like, when you consider, he was kind of spoiled a bit in the end. With what was looking like a choice between Alpine and
Alpine and Williams.
McLaren.
Well,
no,
Alpine and Williams. So we chose McLaren.
Yeah. But I tell you what, again, though, you talk about the toxic atmosphere at Aston Martin. What does that say about Alpine when you have a guy like Alonso that doesn't want to be there, that wants to go, and a junior driver that turns down the team which was going to get him into Formula One to go to another team, which is, on paper at the minute, a lower team.
It's a huge lack of communication as well, isn't it? That they just have no idea what the comings and goings are in their own team. It's mad.
Yeah.
I mean, who's the Alpine boss now? Otmar and someone else, isn't it?
Yeah, there's the guy they got from MotoGP whose name completely eludes me.
Yeah, I know. He was Suzuki from MotoGP, was he?
Yes, I can't remember his name.
There's Laurent Rossi.
Laurent Rossi is not the MotoGP guy, but he's the guy who's usually sort of floating around. Marcin Budkowski, is that one of theirs as well?
There's another Davide Brivio.
Davide Brivio is the one they got from MotoGP.
See, I feel like this has proven the point I was going to make.
Too many managers.
Too many managers, and also not that one strong team figure.
Yeah, there is. I could not tell you who the boss is. Marcin Budkowski is the executive director, whatever the fuck that is.
Hasn't got a role, but has got shares or something, or is mates with the chairman.
Yeah, Formula One teams shouldn't have non-executive chairman.
Apparently he left. I missed that entirely, that he had left.
I don't know. I mean, the last non-executive chairman of a Formula One team that I could name was Niki Lauda, and he didn't do a bad job.
What was a Nicky Lauda? Don't get me wrong, love the man. Glad he was on the grid. I'm still not sure what a Nicky Lauda was for.
Turned up and terrified the hell out of people, I think.
Good.
It worked.
Yeah, he just had that very sort of imposing vibe about him, didn't he? You didn't want to, whatever he was there doing, you didn't want to fuck with him.
Mm.
And one hell of a line in Red Hats.
Yes.
I do feel he's missed, actually. So even with my joke, him and Toto did seem to be a decent pairing together, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they work pretty well together because, I mean, Toto's a money and business and a bit of racing.
Yeah.
Lauda was technical and business and a lot of racing. And between them, they had lots of technical, lots of business, and lots of racing.
Yeah,
as well, Lauda was not in any way sort of the politics guy or the PR guy. He just you heard what he was thinking, and that was that.
Yeah.
You know, he went in as Chief Nicky Lauda.
Yes.
Oh, as we found out at Liverpool Airport 2 weeks ago, Lauda Air is still going. There was one of their planes on the tarmac next to ours.
No, it's livery is.
Oh, cool.
I will post that photo. I meant to do it, but I was busy getting on the plane at the time. So that leaves Danny Ricciardo, who it looks like he's done at McLaren.
It's looking that way, isn't it? I mean, it's been my new point of contention with F1 Twitter since this happened, is that the same people that forgot that Vettel has been shit for the past 5 years have forgot that Daniel Ricciardo has been shit for the past 2.
Is it the car? Or is it is it a combination of him and the car not getting on?
That has to be it. It's I don't believe Daniel Ricciardo's forgotten how to drive. I certainly don't want him to fall out of Formula One. But Lando's fucking done him. Even that one win, like that fucking diamond in amongst a pile of shit. If Lando hadn't have radioed in and said, "Is it best for the team if I stay where I am?" before he was told to do so for the team, Lando would have had Ricciardo. He was quicker.
I mean, it was such an oddity of a race, but yeah, I think he probably was.
Yeah.
But the whole thing with Ricciardo, I mean, now it's 2 years at McLaren and it hasn't worked.
Yeah, I think it is just best for everyone that they just have a look. It doesn't work. It's a bad fit. You can have a good car and a good driver that just don't get on. And they just, they need to separate it.
Is he going to end up being Alonso's replacement at Alpine?
Oh, God, I kind of forget that the Alpine seat is actually unresolved in this whole shit show.
You know, if they end up without Piastri, they're going to need to get another driver in there. And
one they can plug in.
Yeah, but they can't do what they always do every time they need a driver and get Alonso back.
What do you mean we can't use Plan D?
You know, I can just imagine the board meeting at Alpine. It's like, right, okay, things have got screwed up. We've got a vacant seat. Oh, Fernando will come back. That won't be a problem. Like, we'll ring him. Why has he changed his number?
Incidentally, Ricciardo did post a picture, sort of like a sort of post-summer holidaysy picture, where he was with a McLaren, but it just happened to be an Alpine blue McLaren.
I
think you're clutching.
I am. But I'm going to go with it anyway, because here we are.
Now, he's had his best results with Renault engines.
He's had most of his results with Renault engines.
Exactly. So he knows what he's getting. But if not him, who?
Jenson Button threw his name in,
that's
didn't
very
he?
True. He's offered.
Not going to lie, I feel the way Ricciardo's done, I think it's the same size gamble if they were going to give Button 1 year contract.
Who else could you have? You could have Hulkenberg. He's always available.
Oh, Hulkenberg or Ricciardo, there's one. I don't know what I'd go for there.
Yeah.
The potential of Ricciardo is better, but we haven't seen that Ricciardo now for I mean, realistically, we haven't seen Ricardo since Red Bull, even though the last like couple of days at Renault turned out okay, didn't it? There's no indication that Ricardo has his head around these new regulations either. So, I think this is the end of his career. If he gets into Alpine, he's so lucky, and he needs to work so fucking hard.
I mean, he could turn up in supercars with Michael Massey.
Well, yes.
Maybe.
Yeah, Massey is rumoured to be joining the supercar series.
And what else can you have at Alpine? You could have, I mean, you can go back to Nick de Vries. We were talking about him earlier.
Yeah, Stoffel, perhaps?
Stoffel is interesting. You could have Pierre Gasly and then let Red Bull just bring in whoever's next. I think it's Liam Lawson.
It could be one of about 30. Just want to quickly talk about somebody who we're partnering with at the minute. It's a product that I've actually started using every day, AG1, and I started taking it basically because I was looking for sort of slightly better gut health, because it's something that everyone's struggled with from time to time, and I just thought I'm going to give this a go, and I didn't want to be taking loads of different supplements every day. So with this, it's just one scoop in a cup of water, and you're getting 75 different high-quality vitamins, minerals, superfoods, probiotics, and something called adaptogens, which apparently, I don't know, judging by the word, I've never heard of it before, but they can adapt your gens, and we all need our gens adapting. It's something good to take in the morning, because it sort of kicks you off a little bit during the day, and does tend to wake you up a bit without going for excess caffeine. Good thing about it is it's lifestyle friendly. So whatever diet you're on at the moment, there's a lot of those: keto, paleo, vegan, dairy free, gluten free, minerals only, God knows what. It fits in with every kind of diet, and it's not chock full of sugar. So that actually works quite well. They describe it as a micro habit with big benefits. I've never come across a micro habit before, but yeah, you get into the habit of taking it every morning, and it's one thing that you can do every single day to take great care of yourself. And the good thing is, it's actually cheaper than going out and getting coffee. Now, I like my coffee, but I'm prepared to sacrifice 1 cup a day. The price works out less than, I'm going to do this in traditional Patreon style, $3, €3 or £3. It's cheap. It's cheaper than that. What more can you really say about this? I mean, it's had 5-star reviews across every single platform. It's recommended by professional athletes, and if you go on the website itself, you will see a Formula 1 driver that you're aware of who uses and recommends the product. So, to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you got to do is go to athleticgreens.com/Formula1, and that's FORMULAONE, just to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Ooh, a background noise.
Sorry, I'm trying to stop it. It's an alarm. Sorry about that.
At 8:42, that's an intriguing time for an alarm.
Is that the, if I haven't talked about Fernando for 10 minutes at this point in the podcast, mention Fernando alarm?
So, Fernando.
I mean, the one interesting thing that's come out of all of this is that Vettel has potentially saved Nicholas Latifi's career.
I don't know if that's a positive or a negative.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
An entity.
It's something that may have happened.
It might be that Williams generally want a clear out. Who's winning F2? It's Felipe Drugovich, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who is completely unassigned.
Yeah. But Williams have got Logan Sargent, who's in second.
Yes.
And will get the super license points if he finishes in the top 5.
And brings in the American fan base.
Fuck yeah. Now with having 95 races a week in America.
I'd like to see Logan Sargent get in because he's got a cool name.
It is a good name.
But Yeah, I mean, first American on the grid since Alex Rossi, who has done all right for himself in IndyCar.
Yeah,
And now McLaren own him.
Alex Rossi was unfortunate. He was knocking on the door of Formula One. He was another one that found it really difficult to get in, wasn't he?
Yeah. It was sort of floating around as a sort of backmarker test driver for a couple of seasons. And
then gets a drive, but it's a shoebox with a wheel on 3 out of 4 corners.
Yeah.
You might need to do something about what I think is going to happen between those cats.
I'm monitoring the podcat situation. It's fine at the moment.
There is currently no humping.
It's just face washing. Just face washing.
Fucking are they?
Just face washing.
Foreplay. So, yeah, Williams may be looking at Logan Sargent, but apparently they're undecided as to whether he's going to be ready or not because it's his first season in F2. So they may want to keep him there longer.
This is the Nicholas Latifi approach, leave him there until everyone more talented's got promoted already.
But what I don't get with the whole Drugovich situation, why are none of the teams out for him? The guy's fast, he's talented. He wins races. He's leading a championship.
Yeah, I am very surprised no one has claimed him. It is strange.
You know, is his dad in the Brazilian mafia? Mate of Bernie's? Owns a car spares company in Brazil, we know that much. But, yeah, that is a weird one. So, at the moment, all we know is there's definitely one seat that may or may not have been taken. And one driver change.
But aside from that, it's pretty much all go.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's great when everything's confirmed. Lee, you still there? You've gone very quiet.
No, I'm here. I am here. Yeah. I was just listening.
Just soaking it all in.
Yeah, he sounded like you were coming back from the kitchen.
No. I just won't talk about Fernando.
It's because we know what he's doing. He is sorted.
So, of course, then the other thing that happened during that week was Alex Albon was confirmed with his permission.
No, I'd sort of forgotten about that. Poor Albon.
Yeah, it kind of got lost in the background noise. So he put out a press release with more or less the same wording as the Piastri one, but changing it to, with my permission, Williams have said that I'll be driving for them next year, and this is 100% accurate. I will. You know, I think that's good for him because he's got a lot out of the car, and he seems to be a lot more in tune with being in F1 than he was with all the pressure that comes with being at Red Bull.
There's a bit more sort of personality about him as well, I think, isn't it? I think he seems a bit more himself.
He dyed his hair red.
Yes.
It's lucky.
I feel that was like that'll be looked back. Albon will look back on that hair as a mistake, I believe. But I think he'll be back in a Red Bull in 2023.
I don't regret my purple perm days.
Okay.
I think there's a time limit on how long you can keep the red hair before it becomes a bit of a sort of novelty.
Yeah,
I think it's got a lifespan. I don't think we're far off the expiration on the red Alex Albon.
I think the only Formula One driver that like played it like wild and loose with hair, where that ended up looking cool, was Jacques Villeneuve.
I don't know.
Bleach blonde Jacques Villeneuve was cool.
Yeah, I mean, Canadian surf bum. Those words don't naturally mesh together.
But it worked. It was so right.
You know, snowboarder. Yeah, maybe. So I think that's just about covered Mad Week, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Did we miss anything else?
We got to make a bold prediction on the Alpine seat. Who we think will go there?
It's going to be a choice between Ricciardo and Hulk.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to go Gasly. I don't know why. I've just got a Gasly vibe.
I think he's already been confirmed for next year at AlphaTauri.
Yeah, Franz Tost has confirmed him, though. I mean, I don't think pen to paper happened. I think Franz Tost just claimed him.
Right, okay.
That wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, he announced it in an interview with Sky. AlphaTauri have not actually put out anything to say, yes, we're keeping him for next year.
They might have done, but
That'd be a good move.
It could have got buried within Mad Week.
No, I thought I'm like 99% certain that has not formally, here as a press release, been announced.
Yeah, that'd be a good move from because the AlphaTauri. I think Red Bull need to fucking sell that team.
Well, they keep trying. Don't forget, they nearly sold it to Berger and Alesi, and then the pair of them sobered up and got buyer's remorse. The other seat that's going to be going free is Williams. Are they going to keep Latifi? Are they going to bring Sargent in? Are we going to see Nick De Vries?
I think it's going to be either Sargent or De Vries.
Probably
De Vries, to be honest, with the Mercedes hookup.
Yeah, I think I'd like De Vries to get a go. But also, if Sargent is ready, I think there's no point faffing about for a year.
Permission to speak freely.
No, never. We never do that here.
De Vries's head weirds me out a little bit. He kind of looks like a Funko Pop.
I'm gonna have to Google him because I can't fully appreciate this in my sort of my mental image of Nick De Vries.
His head just looks slightly too big for his body, and he's got a really big mouth as well.
I mean, it doesn't help that when you Google him, the first photo that comes up is him in a very tight-fitting tux, so I think that's swelling his head anyway.
No. If anything, that tux is baggy.
I mean, is he going to fit in an F1 car next year? That's the question.
You don't have to fit your head in, do you? but he's going to be going down the road. You remember that cartoony Formula 1 game they brought out where all the drivers have big heads?
Yeah.
That's what it'll look like.
What was that? F1 Race Stars?
Yeah, that was it. Terrible game.
Yeah, F1 meets Mario Kart.
Only kart race which has ever got close to Mario Kart was Street Racer on the PlayStation, and everything else has failed.
Yeah, I can't argue with that, actually. Apparently Kartcraft's good, but that's not fun kart racing, that is serious kart racing.
Yeah, no, that's not the same.
No, if you want serious racing, just do race sims. And after clocking up many hours this weekend, 90 minutes on Friday, 6.5 hours Saturday and Sunday doing Le Mans 24, and then another hour last night.
Which finish?
18th, qualified 23rd. By an hour in, we were down to 44th because we got hit twice, and I had to spend about 15 minutes in the pits, so we were 5 laps down. But battled back to 18th. Fantastic performance by, and I'm going to name check all the team here, Alex, Axel. Now, this is the point where we all thought we all need to change our names just so that we've got A, X, E, and L in our names. But not. Adam, Mark, and myself, and Jane doing the crew chiefing. And general spotter and all-round help. Can I say cheerleader?
Maybe.
Yeah.
You'd have to ask.
Yeah. What wine drinker, and bearing in mind, try it for the...
Can I say cheerleader? No. Okay, wine drinker.
She was drinking wine, and she had her first ever sausage roll this weekend.
What?
Apparently, they're not a big thing in Canada. She had to drive 45 minutes to a bakery that did sausage rolls.
I thought sausage roll was a fairly universal snack.
It would appear that certainly in the Ontario area, they are not.
Well, you learn something new, don't you?
But sausage rolls now have a new fan, so if Greg's ever open a branch in Canada, she'll be the first one there. Anyway, where were we? So yeah, that's got to be the end of Mad Week with Albon signing.
Yeah, I mean, it was a proper driver market move, wasn't it? I like it when that happens.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of the entire silly season happened in 3 days.
Well, we've had a couple of them where it's looked like some things have been going to happen. Like going into last year, we thought because there was a load of contracts up for grabs, wasn't there? Mm-hmm. And then kind of everyone sort of stayed where they were. It was only really Ferrari got Carlos in and George come in, and then everyone sort of stayed a bit staticky, didn't they?
It went early, didn't it, last year? There was the Carlos and Ricciardo stuff, and then the sort of Russell, Bottas, Kimi stuff came post-summer break. It was sort of, it was kind of the extreme ends.
Yes, because if you believe Drive to Survive, George got told in Italy that he was going to be driving in a Mercedes.
Do you know, it's really pissing me off Drive to Survive now. I've really had enough of it, and I blame Drive to Survive for 95% of the Formula One fans I don't like now. The ones that you can tell, the ones that don't watch Formula One but still feel the need to comment on it on Facebook, just like they would comment on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. They don't even realize there's a whole sport around their reality TV show.
Keeping Up with the Crashians.
I love that.
Oh,
why have Netflix not called it that? Firstly,
I don't know, but we're nicking that. That's the title of this. That's the title of this week's show.
Yeah, make sure we use it. Make sure we use it and get it in the bag in case there's something else we can use it for in the future.
So it looks like we're back. Well, we are back to racing this weekend, but we're back to some news that's happened on a Monday as well. Well, I say news. It's all about the participation.
Oh yes,
yes. We're going to see Antonio Giovinazzi participating in an F1 weekend again. Well, actually, two of them. He's doing FP1 for Haas in Monza and at Austin because Ferrari, assumedly, and they want to shift.
Ferrari have obviously decided they want an Italian involved at Monza, but not in one of their own cars.
Would you?
I mean, I don't know if Ferrari can afford to be too picky this year, but hey.
Yeah, what if they put an Italian in one of the cars and he makes the strategy look good?
Good lord.
So, yeah, we'll be seeing Giovinazzi back. Now, the rumour is this may be an audition for him to replace Mick Schumacher next year, because even though Schumacher has improved, he may well be on his way out. We could see him in a Williams.
Yes.
Replacing Schumacher, and I've not been the biggest proponent of Schumacher.
You don't
replacing
say.
Him with replacing him with Giovinazzi is a bold move.
It doesn't feel like a trade up, does it?
No.
Yeah, it's like, I'll swap you my cheese sandwich for your identical cheese sandwich.
Yeah, I feel like some of the names we've bandied around already, like a Hulkenberg or a De Vries, might be preferable to a Giovinazzi.
Exciting?
Well, just
in comparison.
You know exactly what you've got with a Giovinazzi, don't you? You've got someone who will pootle around in about 12th or 13th and do fuck all else. Whereas you don't know what you're getting with a De Vries, and with a Hulkenberg, you've probably got someone who's going to be a few places further up the road.
Fifth.
Fifth might be ambitious for Haas, but...
So it's obviously some kind of marketing move, just to get him in the car. But yeah, getting rid of Schumacher. I don't know, because he had improved before the summer break.
It's tricky, isn't it? I don't think he's done sort of badly enough that we're thinking, oh yeah, definitely get rid. But it does look like there probably are going to be better options. I mean, in the driver market.
He's not his uncle, is he?
No. It's a shame. I think everybody wants to see like second generation drivers do well, don't we? You know, it's nice to see the name and stuff, but I can't help think that it was made easy for him to get to Formula One, and I believe the like questionable stories about him getting help in the lower formula, you know, like engine wise and stuff like that. It seems to look true now, doesn't it? Because he's being made to look mighty average by
K-Mag?
I forgot K-Mag, yeah, and I think K-Mag's a perfectly good driver, but he's never going to be anything more than the really good midfielder, is he?
Someone of sort of the K-Mag quality should be kind of catchable for Schumacher if he is the second coming. But Yeah, it doesn't seem to.
Yeah, everyone thought it was going to be Damon Hill or Nico Rosberg, but he's better than Giuliano Alesi. Not hard. Who apparently was last in Super Formula at the weekend.
That seems. I haven't looked, but that seems like reasonable.
Well, it was repeatedly last in F2 when he was in that.
Yeah, Giuliano Alesi was not good.
His dad had potential to be good. Wrong car, wrong time, wrong place. Occasional lack of talent. So that apparently is happening. So we'll get to see some quality participation in those two FP1s. Other bit of news today is Bernie Ecclestone has pleaded not guilty to fraud for a undeclared trust fund, and that's all we can say on the matter.
Yes, that's probably
Yeah,
for the
it's
best.
not Formula One related, and he's not Formula One related anymore, is he?
This is true.
No, that. I think he'd like to think he is, but he's not even. What was it they called him? Chairman Emeritus.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really care about the man.
Yeah, I have to admit, when I saw that he'd pleaded not guilty flash up on the BBC News before. I was kind of like, eh.
They'll probably have something to say at the weekend. Yay, woo. And talking of the weekend, F1 is back, and we are back at Spa for what I hope isn't the last time.
I feel like it always looks like it's going to be the last time at Spa. Like, Spa just does this with its contract.
Yeah, but with all the new races that F1 now want to bring in on, modified street circuits in, I don't know, Kathmandu and Reykjavik. We tried to start that rumour of the Icelandic Grand Prix, didn't we? Yeah, so Spa may be the one that suffers. There's the rumour that it's going to do alternate years with Paul Ricard.
I mean,
The downside of that is it does alternate years with Paul Ricard.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? I if there's any circuit, I'd watch any circuit go instead of that. Like it's the best circuit on the grid, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there's been talk of it being the last Monaco. I wouldn't miss the race there. Now, apparently the event is fantastic. But I've never been to the event, so I couldn't say. All I know about Monaco is the race.
Yeah, I mean...
And Formula One has outgrown the circuit. However, with Spa, Formula One definitely hasn't outgrown it, and that is still a great track for actual racing.
It's a problem, isn't it? I mean, there is something special about Monaco, and I can't remember what changed my mind about whether Monaco should be on the grid. I can't remember who was talking about it, but they said something along the lines of, we have 22 races a year. When Monaco goes, something like that isn't coming back to Formula One. It'll never happen again. So is it not worth preserving it, knowing that you have the opportunity for another 21 good races during the year? It's not, to keep that heritage and to keep that that driver test. I mean, even if it's not an overtaking test, it is still a fucking mission to get a Formula One car around those streets for an entire race distance. Is it worth putting up with a dull hour and a half on a Sunday afternoon, or two? It's nearly 2 hours, isn't it? It's a long one. But we'll say an hour and a half. Is it not worth just putting up with a dull hour and a half on a Sunday? Because what we do get from Monaco is a fucking good qualifying, usually.
Admittedly, yeah, that is usually the best part of the weekend from a viewing perspective.
And not just from a viewing perspective, just from that race weekend. Monaco is consistently one of the best qualifying sessions of the year, and I think that's forgotten quite a lot. So yeah, I just think it's worth, when you consider the amount of races, maybe back in the day when we had like 16 races and fewer, and it was a procession, I think the case was stronger to get rid of Monaco. But when we've got so many races anyway, it's the horse trams on Douglas Promenade. It's a faff. but it's worth keeping around.
I'm intrigued to see as well with Monaco if they try anything once they finish this big, like, land reclamation extension thing, because they would potentially have potential to add a bit to the track, which if they can make it the overtaking section, you get
one overtaking spot's all you need, isn't it?
That's
really?
it. That's all you need.
Yeah.
An option. So yeah, if they can craft this new bit of land that they're building, and not fill it with sort of all the apartments and the yachts and whatnot, and just have a slightly wider bit of track, they could fix all the problems, and still have the tunnel and the rich people on their yachts and all the other stuff that comes with Monaco.
Yeah,
renting an apartment for the afternoon for $9,000.
Yes.
All you really need is either a straight, which is big enough to use DRS on, or something with a proper braking zone, like a wide part of the circuit. I can't help think. I mean, I know obviously. I don't know where they're reclaiming that. Are they reclaiming it by the tunnel?
It's sort of by the entrance into the tunnel, isn't it?
Yeah, as you come out of Portier, it's sort of what you'd be driving towards before you do the right to go to the tunnel.
Right.
So it's all around there. That's why there's been the hoardings with the fake seascape painted on.
So as long as the
one that Jensen punted Verline into.
Yeah. See, if I was going to be sneaky, and because obviously they like the tunnel's pretty iconic coming down that hill, I'd fucking move the tunnel. I'd bring the circuit down from that reclaimed land down towards the hairpin, because you've got loads of room there. You could have the hairpin, instead of it being a left into a right, you could make it a right into a left, like coming down that you would have a nice big long straight where you could use DRS in, and a braking zone into your new made corner, which was the hairpin, and then I just move the tunnel section to the new piece of road. So as far as for people watching on the circuit and like for television and stuff, it still looks like they're going through the tunnel. It's just the tunnel is 50 feet a different direction.
Problem is, I'd have to kind of move the hotel that's on top of it as well.
No, you could still keep all that stuff. But I'm just saying, I would close off the new section. So just so the cars were still going through a tunnel, and then maybe it would like placate the F1 Twitter Karens from fucking losing their minds about, because it's going to happen. Everybody hates Monaco until it's gone. Then everyone that's complained about Monaco for the last 150,000 years will be complaining it's gone.
Some people just like to complain.
I'm partial myself, but there's a fucking point where you got to stop.
You promise?
I'm complaining about complaining.
And of course, what is going to be replacing one of the races that is under threat, because it looks like it's going to be Kyalami coming back for the first time since 1992. So yeah, first race in Africa for quite some time. That's, I mean, at the moment,
cool.
At the moment, it's the only continent without a race, unless you count Antarctica.
Ice race.
No, my money's on Kimmy for that one. And China may be coming back next year, depending on a variety of things.
Yes.
Although, to be honest, I've never been a fan of the China circuit.
It's one of those, isn't it? You occasionally get the odd bit of action, but it's not a banker, is it? It's not like, ooh, the Chinese Grand Prix, it's all going to go off.
Yeah. Now, if they were talking about bringing Sepang back, I'd be all in on that.
Yeah, we like a bit of Sepang.
But, I don't know, China... Have we missed the Chinese Grand Prix?
Not really.
No, I can't say as I missed it.
No, I mean... Realistically, it's got horrendous human rights violations, so it's almost guaranteed a Formula One race.
I was going to say, if you kicked all the ones with human rights violations off the calendar, it'd be quite a short calendar.
Yeah, Silverstone would be one of the early ones to go.
So it's almost like that We Races One thing is fucking bullshit, isn't it?
So, what do we reckon for Belgium this weekend?
George Russell win.
I mean, obviously there's going to be not a great deal in the way of upgrades because all the factories had to do that 2-week shutdown. Mm-hmm. And
I'm sure there was a couple of USBs went home. People fucking 3D printing front wings in their living room.
Is this like salary cap though? If you can claim it was something else and then, oh look, I've found an F1 application for it, it doesn't count. We're doing a hypercar, honest. Yes. Oh, look, it just happens to be a rear wing for an F1 car.
They use the same wing. That was the thing about Aston Martin. They don't know if they're going to be able to run the revolutionary new rear wing for the rest of the year because they might not be able to afford it under the salary cap. Because it means modifying all the rear wings that they've got, which apparently would cost too much. I mean, they've got the money because Lawrence Stroll has all the money, but they're not going to be allowed to spend it.
I just don't know how I feel about that sort of thing. I get why the salary cap's there, but then if it stifles fucking performance that's there, we've got this thing, we can make it, and we've got the money to make it, but we're just not allowed. Doesn't sound like Formula One, does it?
Not in the traditional sense, no. It's an extension of the old development points, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what do points make?
No one ever quite found out.
But prizes, according to Brucey. So you reckon a George Russell win, then?
I think Mercedes are gonna come out punching the last half of the season. I don't know if they're going to be on par with Red Bull, but I think they might be a fucker for Ferrari.
Well, I mean, the current rumour that's doing the rounds, and has been for a while, obviously the new floor regulations on flexibility come in for this weekend. Now, the rumour that's been doing the rounds is that Checo has been previously running the floor to the regulations that will be in from this week, and Max hasn't.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense as well when you look at where his performance has gone.
Yeah, the last couple of races before the break, there was a sort of a drop-off.
And he has been back there with the Mercedes, hasn't he?
Yeah. Although the Mercedes have improved at the same time, so they've kind of caught each other a little bit.
But I take it the talk is that as far as the flexible floor goes, Mercedes aren't impacted by this in the slightest, are they? So what they had going into summer break is what they're going to have in Belgium.
By all accounts, yes. And it's Red Bull and Ferrari that appear to be in the most, I won't say danger, but in the most grey area.
They've got the most to lose, I think, haven't they?
I think that's always going to happen, isn't it? If you've got the best car, which is exploiting the rules to the nth degree, then any changes in that, they're gonna hurt, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's going to kill you the most because I mean, look at how the first season of Mercedes was when when everyone had the double and blown diffusers after Braun came up with it. All of a sudden, you get caught up and there's nothing new that you can do with it. Everybody else catches and passes.
Yeah. At the risk of the Hamilton fans killing me, I think Max Verstappen is going to finish this season with the most race wins of any Formula One driver in history.
Well, it is the longest season. You have to look at it as a percentage because, I mean, when Schumacher had dominant seasons, there were less races. So if you look at it as a percentage, I think that's the one that matters.
Yeah, I think you. I know what you mean, but we rarely do. You know, it's the same with race wins.
Yeah.
You know, just career race wins. We only ever look at the number of race wins people have. We don't look at the percentage.
Not the number of races. Yeah,
number
I mean,
of pole positions, number of
I'm as
points.
I'm as guilty.
Points you get more points these days.
I'm as guilty as anyone of this because I keep going on about the football team I support being the first team ever to score over 100 points in the English League. Mm-hmm. And all right, it was the first season where it was 3 points for a win instead of 2. So yes, they scored more points because there was more points available.
Yeah, but no, I do. I think I just can't see. I can't see Max having a bad end of the season and not just fucking winning a load of fucking trophies.
He's gonna do it, but the whole floor thing might close things up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I think the other ominous thing is, I mean, fair enough, Ferrari have Ferrari'd themselves to a certain extent, but by all counts, Max really isn't happy in this car. You know, it's not on the front end, which he prefers. They'll probably fix this problem next year, and like he's really doing the business in a car. You know, when you look at Daniel Ricciardo, for instance, who isn't getting on with his car, and Max, which apparently isn't getting on with his, it's quite ominous that if Red Bull can sort those problems out for Max and give him a car that he actually wants to drive, I think he's going to take some stopping for a little bit.
Yeah, this could be the start of the new sort of domination era because, you know, we've had the Schumacher, the Vettel, the Hamilton. Mm-hmm. You know, is it Max's turn to do 4 or 5 drivers' championships on the bounce?
Yeah, I think the only, and obviously this is going to come with a lot of Christian Horner crying, but the only thing that might stop that, and which I think is a healthy thing to happen as well, is that Formula One's MO now appears to be, if you're getting too far ahead, we're going to stop you. You know, they have this mission in mind to try and squish the teams together and make it a more competitive grid. I think that's a healthy thing for Formula One. So maybe that might stop the dominance of one team.
Unless one team is quicker to adapt than any of the others constantly.
Oh, constantly to adapt quicker than the others. And the other thing is, if you get a closer grid where you're still going to have your better teams, you're still. I think realistically, what we can hope for is that Ferrari, Mercedes, and Red Bull are all capable of winning races, with the McLarens and Alpines and Aston Martins like in close battle behind them, if not breaking into the top 3 on certain years. But if you have all the cars sort of leveled, it is only going to take one standout driver becoming the Schumacher or Lewis Hamilton of that era. And then they will still dominate it because the cars are equal, but they're just doing a better job.
Mm. And Max may well be that driver.
I think so. Yeah, I do. I think he's. They had this conversation on the race this afternoon when I was listening to it, saying whether he is right poised to be one of the F1 greats, and I think he is. In that conversation though, they have had Mika Hakkinen as not one of the all-time great Formula One drivers in that conversation. That confused me greatly.
Yeah,
made me think somebody might just not have watched Formula One in the 90s.
Talking to Mika Hakkinen, he has something new coming out very soon.
What?
Which we'll be able to talk about more in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, I think I vaguely know what you're talking about, yes.
Yes, and Lee, I think you already know, but I'll remind you off air.
Yeah,
but
please.
Yeah, stay tuned for that, because it's something we'll be definitely talking about over the next couple of weeks.
Is
it mine and Mika's sex tape?
Is it a pop single to rival that of Jacques Villeneuve?
I'm hoping not. I remember it was either the 98 or 99 FIA Gala. Somebody had recorded a song about Mika Hakkinen, and the FIA got the world's only official Mika Hakkinen lookalike to stand on stage and kind of vogue along with this song.
Ooh.
The footage is out there, and I've been looking for it on YouTube, and it hasn't turned up yet. But if anyone can find it, please let me know, and we'll share it, because this was just
everything about the world right now, and about like what's happened over like the past 10 years. Everything makes me want to have a time machine to go back to the late 90s, early 2000s.
Just to see that.
Yeah, well, just all of it. That's a fucking such a... What should we do? We've got a fucking Mick Hakkinen look like. We could have a mime. Great idea, John. Employee of the month. That's the fucking sort of attitude that happened back then.
Yeah, I really need to find this footage. Anyway, Lee, I know you've got to disappear because you're being kidnapped by aliens or getting probed or something. So quickly before you do, let's just do some top threes for this weekend.
Fernando Alonso. Yeah.
So anyone going first?
I thought Lee had started by saying George Russell, and then
George Russell, Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton. Boom.
Ooh. Sean?
Yeah, I'll go Verstappen, Russell, Sainz.
Verstappen, Sainz, Perez for me.
Oh.
If you want to do your own predictions, I will reactivate the prediction league, 'cause I haven't actually set Belgium up yet. I must do that as soon as we finish recording. Go to 3legs4wheels.com, go to the games section, and the prediction league is up there. You get to predict the top three, pole position, fastest lap, will there be a safety car, and the number of not classified DNSs. And there's a league table running all season. If you want to help the show out, then all you need to do is go to patreon.com/3legs4wheels, and you can donate from anything from $1, €1, £1, or you could even do what Nice Pete has done this week, and he is very nice Pete, and he's donating $20 a month.
That's very generous.
What a guy.
So, Pete Brown, we salute you. If you want to get hold of us, email address for the old school types, 3legs4wheels@gmail.com, and we're at 3legs4wheels on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And individually on Twitter we are...
At Sean Cowper.
At A Total Shunt.
I'm at Pablo100, and Flood is at Flood21. Right, I think that about does it for this week. So we're back on schedule now. The holidays have happened. And we'll be back next week, and we'll be talking about what's happened in Belgium and what's going to happen in Italy.
Yes.
So we will see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.